Hey, Thrivers, we know that narcissists can smear horrifically. They can absolutely destroy your reputation, but it's not just in a professional sense that they can do it. They can also do it family, friends, anybody really who's close to you in your life. They can turn you against them. And as this video is about, how do you stop them doing it? Well, how you stop them doing it is not how you would think you would stop them. It's actually completely counterintuitive. And the biggest warning that I can ever give you is stop trying to stop them doing it. And that might sound really crazy, but let me explain. What it means is the more that you try to convince people that what they've heard is not the truth and the narcissist is really the bad person and they're lying, and even if you show them evidence, it makes you look crazy. You know you're not crazy. You're going crazy because nobody's listening to you and they're not believing you, but you are the one who ends up looking like the one who's got all the problems, the one that's lying, the one that's nasty, the one that's toxic. And narcissists are absolute experts at smearing. They are very, very, very good at making it sound believable because they put just the right amount of empathy in there and compassion and look people straight in the eyes, and they give them lots of detail. Narcissists will go into these incredible, embellished stories, these novels about what you've done to them, how you did it to them, and everything else that goes with it, including the color of yours and their undies. It's crazy. And a normal adult would actually look at somebody, looking them straight in the eyes and appearing so real and so authentic. And what they think to themselves is, no, surely nobody could make up that stuff unless it was true. It must be true. So they believe it. And then you come barging in there because you found out, or people are turning against you, and you're trying to sort it out and you're really triggered and you're really hurt. And people don't believe you. And it's shocking because this can even be the people in your life who are supposed to love you and supposed to back you and supposed to trust you. They don't. And I know I've been through it. I promise you, I went through it to the extent where my friends, my family, my colleagues, everybody was turned against me. And there was even a stage in my life when I had fled or, really been locked out of the family home, which I had paid for. And my mum was still going around there and helping him with housework and his ironing after all the horrific things that had happened to me, which I won't go into. So I know that you may be feeling the lowest you've ever felt because you're smeared by a narcissist, which is disgusting in itself because usually you're being accused of all of the things that the narcissist actually does and they've projected it onto you. And it's the betrayal and the injustice and the horrificness of, somebody that you've tried to support and love them back to health, and you've hung in there and you've given them your years and your money and your time and your attention and stuck by them, and they throw you under a bus. And it's horrible. And why narcissists do this is because when the cracks appear and they are possibly getting exposed, what they have to do is cover up all the evidence of themselves, and they have to appear as the good, decent, sane person, and they have to scapegoat you. They have to make out that you're no good. And this is the devalue. You're no good. You shouldn't be in their life. You're the horrible one. You're the terrible one. And really what they've done is they have projected their unhealed, unowned, unmet parts outside of themselves onto you and then attacked you. It's almost like they're trying to kill the parts off of themselves that they can't face. And that's what the smearing's about. And then it's about bringing in the minions and the flying monkeys and the abuse by proxy, because they want to bury you. They want to destroy you. And this is shocking, because you may be being attacked from every angle by authorities, people deserting you, sending you abusive messages, crossing the street to get away from you, refusing to serve you or deal with you or be your colleagues or your friends, or, you know, even more horrifically, maybe siding with a narcissist against you legally. I've heard it all, I've seen it all, and I've experienced a huge chunk of it, I promise you. And I know that when I was trying to fight back and expose him and get everybody to understand it, really I was coming off as a distressed, toxic banshee. And people didn't believe me. I was pushing people away from me even more, and I was looking even more guilty. What I discovered was the real way to stop it. And it's pretty much how it works with everything with narcissistic abuse, is we have to harness into a power within rather than handing our power away. And it's like anything in our life, when we try to make something happen, when we're devastated and traumatized and fractured and anxious, it doesn't work. And I want to give you the example of the simplest thing in your life. Maybe you're trying to repair an item in your house and you're frustrated and you're anxious and you don't have time. And it doesn't work when you're in that frame of self. You don't get any result. But once you can let go of the anxious, frustrated feelings and get calm and get centered, then the solution appears. It's exactly the same, yet on steroids, when you're dealing with a narcissist. Because what happens is they trigger the most primal survival and security programs within ourselves. And when it comes to persecution and having people turn against us and think badly of us, there's some pretty deep, scary wounds that come up to the surface. They can feel like you're dying, or you have that much white hot anxiety that you can't even function. It's so overwhelming. And that's how it was for me. It was horrific. But when I realized the quantum truth of so within, so without, that if I want to get a change outside of me, I need to get the change inside of me, I started to turn out of wrong town and get into right town. So what I had to do, and it was the hardest thing ever, was to let go of what was going on out there, which was horrible. And I turned inwards to where it was horrible, to where I was being triggered, to what was hurting me. And I worked with quantum freedom healing, which was a system that, thank goodness, I was able to devise and develop and use on myself, which was able to access those dense energies and those traumas. And it was so interesting because even as a little girl, if somebody told me I'd done something wrong that I hadn't done, I was so heartbroken and devastated and terrified. I had always struggled with that. And there were deeper reasons. There were past life reasons of persecution and probably being put to death for things I was accused of. And, you know, as a child, I had that horror and that terror. And I had instances in my life where people had turned on me, accused me of things I'd never done, persecuted me, and I'd gone through those patterns in my life. And here it was at the massive crescendo with the narcissist. And when I went inwards to heal, I was able to load up all of that junk on my timeline, all of those primal original wounds of the fears and the terrors of persecution, which are so common with people who have been narcissistically abused. I promise you, I'm not alone. I've seen it so many times with other people too. And I was able to release it and bring in source, and I had to do a lot of work on it. But when I say a lot of work in quantum freedom healing terms, a few days. We're not talking years or decades as we might be in cognitive therapy. And within a few days, I anchored into a place of, I know who I am, and I feel safe and I feel connected to source regardless of what anybody else does or doesn't think of me. And that's when the magical shift happened. People who had persecuted me made contact and apologized and said, I am so sorry, I was so wrong. What had happened was they saw through it. And he started slipping up. Things happened with police. They came to me and said, we were wrong. We were had. We caught him out. And one after the other started to unfold. My family got it. They realized. My son realized. And this wasn't because I was going around shaking them, banging their heads against a wall. In fact, I wasn't doing anything I'd stopped doing. I'd changed who I was being on the inside on this topic. And this is quantum law. So within, so without. To change our world, we change ourselves. And what was so powerful was I didn't need others to get it for me to be whole. I'd let go of my trauma. It was between me and source, God, my higher power, that I knew and anchored into who I was. Non-conditional of how others saw me. And when I no longer needed others to change to get my change, people changed to match the change I'd already produced inside of myself. And that's the key. So you may need to play this back a couple of times, and I want you to just breathe and open your body and soak into yourselves what I'm telling you, what I'm sharing with you. Because when you feel it, something inside you will remember and know that this is the truth. And yes, not everybody came back into my life because some of those people weren't meant to. They didn't have the capacity or the desire to accept me as I accepted myself. They weren't my peeps, but so many did. I really, really hope this has helped. And I want to put up a link with this video, which is NARP, the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, because it has all the quantum freedom healings in there that I worked with to be able to produce this shift, which was so much more than just getting out of the pain of persecution and smearing. It was every piece of the recovery from narcissistic abuse. So check out the link with this video, and it's in the show notes, and really check it out. And again, soak in what I'm sharing with you because it's everything. I so hope this helps and gives you hope. Lots of love. Bye-bye.